Okay.
Thirty seconds to battle.
We should mention neither team doing particularly great so far in this tournament. I believe Liquid is winless in terms of series. They're 0-3, but 2 wins out of the actual games and 6 losses, where Secret hasn't played as much. They're 1-1 in series, 2-3 overall in games. So off to a bit of rough starts for 2 clearly tier 1 teams. Of course, Secret coming off a bunch of victories until recently. They were finally taken out.
Begins.
And then they took what was like a 2-week break, and now they're back, I guess.
Yeah.
Just can't
and
get
Liquid won that
notes.
tournament, and now they're 0-3. So that's just Europe for you right now. I think the teams are really close, and everybody can win against each other. So I think we should also remember, like, this patch. We're reaching a stage now with this patch where we've had it for a really long time. And that's usually where innovators can start taking series by coming up with something new, right? Like this Only Night 5, for example, can suddenly become a pick because the meta is so defined. Like, there's nothing picked from Liquid here that's out of the ordinary for them. Maybe a little bit, like the Coddle is not a meta favored pick, but it's a Liquid favored pick. I don't think Secret should be surprised with any of the heroes they're playing against.
All right, well, this mid lane, you kind of discussed that Boxi was going to be playing mid this time around. On that Void Spirit versus Nisha's Leshrac. Getting these split earths off already. How do you like this matchup overall?
I'd say it's Lesh favored. Lesh does very well against melee heroes. Void Spirit can of course try to dodge the split earths with Dissimulate, but you need to time it properly. It's still mana that you're expending, and Lesh will have the inherent advantage of always just being able to harass you with the Lightning Storm. So Boxi's still doing well in here in the start. It's gonna be even right out the gate, and then I think when Lesh hits level 3 and level 4, the harass starts becoming a pretty major issue.
Yeah, definitely see that as another split earth connects onto Boxi. Does have a salve, of course, and more tangos on the way. And then top lane, Spectre, not the worst laner in the world anymore, Synderen. Used to be one of the worst laners from a hard carry perspective, but now it's pretty decent, I guess you could call her.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
how does this match up against like the Slardar? Will she be able to get a decent amount of farm, or will Zai just keep her at bay?
I think Coddle as a wild card in that lane, or whatever you want to call it, can help Spectre a lot. This is the kind of hero that Coddle will really make a big difference against, because similar to how we talked about yesterday when we had a Phoenix against Slardar, Slardar is a hero that's almost exclusively based off right clicks, and Coddle has a very powerful blind knockback. So probably be okay on Spec with the help. They can also, you know, once Coddle gets level 3, just spam out daggers non-stop for harass and hopefully stabilize. But even despite all of that, I still think Secret should come out ahead in this lane. Because, yeah, you can defend the Spectre, but you don't have plays yourself. Boxi's
forced to pop the wand and does get off the Resonant Pulse in time. His only physical damage was left for Nisha. But
he's definitely being pressured here.
Yeah, Nisha's, in terms of the CS, a little bit of a lead right now.
He has another wave coming in, though.
A couple more range creeps as well. Yeah, Boxi, I mean, in terms of levels, they're basically even as well. So if you can hit the split earth, though, okay. Force the level. And how early do you typically get Dissimulate? See, a lot of people just forego this, but
you usually get it level 3 or 4. In very specific matchups, making them go 2-0-2, but most Void Spirits actually like maxing Dissimulate early or the Resonant Pulse because it's your farming tools. It gives you the wave clear, gives you the runes, as qojqva actually gets the first blood. Puppey was out pulling, and they got on top of the Sven, so relatively easy kill there. And already paying big dividends that they put the Viper in the off lane, I would say. That is very important to shut down Sven.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And then looking at the actual CS in terms of the carries themselves, I mean, qojqva is actually position 1, it feels like right now. After getting that kill in lane, of course. 24-2 in CS, so leading the pack. But looking at the actual carries, Sven 15-0, Spectre 15-1. So they're being limited a bit, but they are essentially even. So you have to think that that would benefit the Sven overall in terms of how the game is going to be shaping up, considering you want to get online a little bit earlier, does Secret.
We get the kick mid, but did not connect the other remnant on Boxi. Still got a TP out of Puppey. Yeah, I think so. I think Sven is okay with the state of this because, like the panel talked about, Liquid's lineup doesn't exactly push towers very well compared to Secret's with the Diabolic Edict. So you would imagine Secret will hit this timing where they can really start grouping up and threatening towers. And if they pull that off correctly, that means a lot of space for Sven. Also, I would say in this game, Slargar is one of the heroes that, with a good start, you can probably leave alone a bit, and that gives YapzOr a very natural transition to start stacking camps for Sven for a comeback. Hasn't really done it yet, though, but might see him start doing it here at the 7-8 minute mark when Sven wants to transition to the triangle with Mask of Madness.
And Bounty Rune's about to spawn here. Yeah, Matu getting pressured off the lane quite a bit here in the bot, but like you said, it is a Sven after all, so once they start getting those stacks up, should be able to make a comeback. As top lane, we're gonna have the telekinesis into the crush. iNSaNiA is able to get off a blinding light, but will likely just fall eventually. And it will go to Zai. So YapzOr for once not stealing a kill. Good to see. Although YapzOr with farm is a pretty scary sight to behold, no doubt about it. You've had a lot of experience with that, feeding
Zai,
your life
though,
to save your 4. I mean, true.
We've got so used to seeing Zai have slightly rougher games than average lately from Secret, but in this game he's off to a very hot start. He was top net worth a moment ago until qojqva just took it over again. So definitely look out for that. But yeah, so far pretty stable game. It's pretty average for both teams. The big winner in all of this, maybe a bit more than you could have expected, is qojqva. Speaking of which, it's going to go in bot. Not going to find too much action.
Continuing to pressure with Viper. I mean, against 2 melee heroes, pretty much the dream matchup like you were talking about, being able to orb walk, which, I mean, is that even a term anymore? I feel like that's... I mean, it's technically a thing, so...
It's still there.
Not being able to aggro creeps and whatnot.
It's not something that gets talked about as much anymore, and I think part of that is that more heroes got it, right? And it used to be something really cool, and now it's just standard for everybody, even at mid-skill, to take advantage of orb walking. But obviously, back in Dota 1, when the term was coined, it was a bit more of a higher skill thing to do.
Puppey getting pressured by both Viper and Earthsphere, able to get the purification off under the midst of the tier 1 tower. Actually pops a fairy fire as well. Yep, just barely lives. Extra status resistance for the win. Nisha's here though, gets off a split Earth, and this is looking to be a very important kill onto the Viper. So Matu thanking his mid laner as his recovery is well underway now.
Puppey is so tanky with nothing. It's actually crazy. Viper was laying into him for a good 15 seconds there, and he still survived it with just Heavenly Grace and Purification. And that's something that can happen when you pick these unusual heroes, right? Liquid must have extremely limited experience playing against Omni this patch, and in general, like, nobody plays this hero. I have not seen an Omni Knight in any of my last 100 games, and that's not even an exaggeration. I literally think the hero has been unpicked. So in scrims, like, maybe some of the teams are experimenting with it, but you don't nearly have the same, like, muscle memory or whatever you want to call it with, okay, how much can this hero take mid lane? Nisha?
Yeah, Boxi doing a nice job of not only forcing a TP, but killing the courier as well. But yeah, I wonder if Puppey watched the game yesterday with his old friend Kuroki with that healing strat. I mean, it's not exactly the same level here that we're seeing is telekinesis. Boxi. Oh, he actually goes on top of them, a little bit unexpected, but still has that haste turn activated. Should be fine.
Is under attack.
But yeah, seeing the Omni Knight maybe heals their... I mean, is he actually going to get... nobody buys this item, so Holy Locket Cinderin. Is that even a remote consideration on Omni Knight?
I think it's just a lot worse on Omni than Undying, and the reason is Undying's heal has way more cast range, so it's very easy to
and the
get
cooldown
your value.
Is way lower too.
Purification's cast range is not very good, so I think if you're playing a support Omni Knight, actually some of the key items are positioning items, so Force Staff or Ethelyn's, to make sure you get your spells off. First off, it looks like Puppey will be going for Soul Ring, which makes a lot of sense. The hero has mana issues. This allows him to start pushing out waves. Puppey loves playing greedy on his 5 and getting farm. So we'll enable that playstyle very well. And then I think it's going to be very telling what his next item is on the quick buy. I would like Lens, Glimmer, or a Force Staff. I think all three items are really good for different reasons this game. Oh, he might be in trouble now, though.
Stacking the living crap out of this jungle. Puppey's okay for now. He's a tanky boy. I don't know if they want to even dive in this tier 1. That's when you're not sure if you want to dive a position 5 under tower, you know you might have some issues, but the game's still relatively even. And like I said, iNSaNiA has been stacking the jungle en masse Cinderin. Of course, panel brought the fact up that if you do scout this as a Leshrac, you could take that very easily. Sven obviously needs a little bit more farm before he can flash farm to that degree, but looks like they're going to start taking it out with both iNSaNiA and miCKe. Could be a huge influx of gold, and once this blade mill comes online for miCKe, he'll be able to basically just do these himself.
Yeah, but that was such a big item change that I think was a bit overlooked to begin with, but then multiple pro teams started taking advantage of that blade mill change with the passive flat damage return on every hit, allowing Spectre to farm Ancients, which was a huge buff to the hero.
Anytime you instill the heart of Centaur into an item, Cinder, of course it's going to be beneficial to all. Just remember that. YapzOr getting initiated on in the mid lane. Has no teammates even remotely close, so looks like he will fall. Although Zai is here now. Haunt comes out, able to take out YapzOr pretty easily, but Boxi has very little way of no astral step to speak of. Crush, bash, Boxi. Trying to buy as much time as possible. Another 11 seconds for his ult. Slithereth is there just in time for that TP ended up channeling all the way.
So
that's a really great defensive play from Secret. Yeah, you lose your Rubik, but he made them work for it so long that Zai comes in and gets the kill, and Nisha with the rotation also secures the mid tower, and now the push is going the other way. So effectively, you just killed a core for a support, you defended your tower, and now you're the one leading the charge with the siege creep mid. You have Glyph, and you have the Edict in 5 seconds. I think Liquid has to rotate the extra 1 or 2 heroes here. They're going to lose the tower. They might lose it anyway. Looks like they will respect the qojqva rotation. Oh,
Zai
good
getting slowed perpetually. Gonna get some help in form of Puppey though. And Fade both doing a little residual damage as well. Tower's not in deny range, but they do defend it for now.
It is still, of course, enabling the Sven game plan. Every time Secret play aggressively and force Liquid to rotate, the Sven will farm faster than Spectre, and that is even if Spectre has this blade mill. Sven should still, on paper, just be getting more gold per minute. And once again, see the value of the Omni Knight rotating in there. It looked like a super dead Slardar, but man, the defensive capabilities of this hero have been kind of forgotten, I think. So, nicely done.
So, I know NA, especially Eternal Envy, he'll buy 2 rings of regen on the Spectre. And I know this ring of regen, or ring of Tarask, was kind of an older school thing before that. Well, older school, as of like a year ago. I used to buy this all the time. But then it got nerfed, but now we're seeing... Is this more of an EU thing?
I think it's less common in general. I don't know if it has like a region on it. miCKe might like it this game because he has the Coddle to kind of bridge the gap early on. Oh, good teamfight coming in from Liquid perhaps.
Ignis, Fatis onto 3. Looks like Nisha's going to take the brunt of the damage. It's taken out before he can even react. YapzOr trying to get off a good steal, but not able to really find a good one. 2 for 0. But Sven coming in the back line. Going to be helped out with that crush and corrosive haze. qojqva destroyed, so it's a 2 for 2 as the chase continues. Zai, no bash available quite yet, so it looks like Boxi will be able to get out of dodge. So they find the Lesh instantly, but it ends up costing them qojqva, which
and it ends up costing them this mid tower.
That's true. I mean, that was going to go down regardless at some point in the near future.
It was, but maybe Liquid were hoping that the teamfight would happen around that mid tower so that they could use Ignis and Haunt there and take a big win off of losing the tower. But now instead they kind of break even and then lose the tower. They'll be getting their own bottom, so it's a trade of sorts, but they've already lost their own safe lane tower too. So now they're basically just behind the mid tower, almost full HP on the secret one. And that's a pretty big deal. Like, we've kind of almost talked it to death by now, but it is the kind of thing that matters a lot in a Sven game, is can you access that triangle area? Can you play aggressive so that you deny him this influx of farm? And Liquid so far haven't really been able to really pressure Matu outside of the first, I want to say 3 or 4 minutes in lane. He's fully recovered and more than that. Easily top net worth currently.
Yep, has 1,000 gold lead over miCKe right now, but of course this is a Spectre. He's actually going for Radiance. I feel like that is not the common item anymore. Typically Manta would be the next step up. What do you think of Radiance this game?
I think that's a scary choice when you're playing against Slardar not buying Manta. You are going to get destroyed by Corrosive Haze when you don't have a Dispel. Unless somebody in his team buys a reliable Dispel like a Lotus Orb early.
Top lane.
Problem. Puppey?
Yeah, Puppey doing his thing. I mean, it's taking them forever. They'll get it. In the meantime, oh my god, we missed this. Spectre ends up dying in the bot lane. Ends up buying back, haunting in. YapzOr extremely low right now, but they're able to find both Nisha and YapzOr, it looks like. So, despite miCKe's death, he'll be happy with that one.
That's a great buyback hunt. Got 800 gold for that, and I want to say almost a full level from solo killing 2 heroes.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Top lane in the meantime. Yeah, Matu gonna be broken here, but Zai has come to assist. He can actually get this bash. It is available into the crush as well. Not sure if any reinforcements are on their way though. He's doing so much damage just by himself. qojqva kind of resigned to die here, it looks like. I mean, the Nether Toxin's really good against Slardar because of the bash, but can't really do much with that move speed. It looks like Boxi is going to find Nisha in the triangle area. Split Earth connects, and Boxi is going to regret that immediately.
That was such a good stun. It doesn't need to be completely perfect against Void Spirit because he has a little bit of cast time on both Astral Step and Dissimulate, but that felt like almost frame perfect from Nisha. That was super good.
I mean, Astral Step has more of a cast point than Dissimulate though, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't remember the exact amounts. They're pretty close. Both of them have an animation that's relatively short. So we do need to time it well, and Nisha was on the money there.
Any kill around the Roche pit means Secret will take it thanks to that Corrosive Haze. Some damage from Matu. And Nisha, the second best Aegis carrier in the game by my expert analysis, Synderen. Just absolutely love this item on this hero.
It's incredible on Lesh. I like...
Oh, and he got a Faded Brooch too. How nice.
I'm trying to think of what the best Aegis carriers are. I don't know if I'm going to agree with you on Storm being the best, actually. I think the best Aegis carrier in the game is Meepo.
Yeah, we did cast him yesterday. He came up in my mind as a top 3. But I think historically speaking, Storm Spirit would be number 1.
For sure. It's also the obvious candidate just because of how much damage you do with your mana bar, and then just having a second bar is obviously bonkers. But usually, when it comes to game winning, I feel like when Meepo gets it closes out more games when Meepo gets Aegis than Storm, right? And that's a good way of like indicating.
But much smaller sample size, Cinder, and don't forget it.
That is true.
We're into science on this cast. Newly implemented science strategies from us.
Still fully agree though with Leshrac being a god tier, excuse me, a god tier Aegis carrier. I think Secret will try to put it to use to get at least 1 tower. The top tier 2 would be great. So gonna time it again, very nicely timed again from Nisha bot. Finding Boxi out of that Invis rune, and that deserves an Aegis timer in all chat. That kill.
Radiant's top tower
iNSaNiA was like, Boxi, they have Aegis. Here are the times. Stop.
I actually have a random question for you. Are you not allowed to create a macro for the timer? Is that like against the rules? Do you know?
How would you do that?
Well, you'd have to have like probably some program.
Right.
Which could be against the rules as a result of being third-party program, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that's the kind of thing where you ask the tournament organizer, and unless you've got permission, anything like that is not allowed.
I'm more not confused, but I don't know. I feel like there should be something in game for people. Like, there's no point that you have to type this out, you know? Like, alt clicking is great, but being able to keep track of timers is so important on this level.
Yeah.
I feel like something should be implemented in the game.
It's one of those things where you could make the argument that making that just 1 button press away it's the classic thing with should you be able to see the mana bar of enemy heroes at all times, etc., because yeah, technically the information is available to you if you click the hero, so why not just have it be visible? But then it's okay, how big of a part of this do you want to attribute to individual skill, right? If you make all of this stuff available to everyone, then it can't be an outplay factor anymore. Being good at clicking enemy heroes and tracking mana is a way of outplaying, tracking cooldowns is a way of outplaying, tracking timers on Roshan is a way of outplaying, and if all of that is all available all the time to people, it gets a little bit more linear and flat skill cap. And I think a lot of people wouldn't be a fan of that.
Let's not start with the slippery slope mentality, because let's be real. In terms of complexity, Dota's at the top.
Of course.
Getting rid of some of these things will not change that in any way.
No, for sure not. Like, I'm not going to argue that if you make these changes, the game gets too easy. Like,
it's just an interesting thing to think about.
Right. It's one of those things where I think a lot of people are in favor of having small things like that, because in many people's minds, that kind of thing is what makes Dota Dota. That it has these small, almost obscure details that you need to know or find out over like thousands of hours of play, find all the little things. And then the counter argument is, well, doesn't that just increase the barrier of entry? And it does. So, like, yeah, I can see both sides of the argument, honestly. Like what?
You can always see both sides of it.
Let me give you, let's say the mana bar thing. Do you think that would be good for the game if you could see the mana of all heroes at all times?
I don't want to get into this. People are going to shit all over me, but yes. I think in general, yes.
It's a setup.
Onto qojqva. Yeah, thanks, Synderen.
Oh, he actually got away. To travel enough to stay away from Nisha's Yules. That was very close to Nisha connecting. And he wasn't scared to go in either with that Aegis first. But here comes the first tier 2 tower as expected. Liquid will try their best to trade for mid, but it's just a Soul Void Spirit pushing this. He's not even going to make it in time probably. But Secret are a little bit hesitant here. So maybe he will actually get this tower. YapzOr currently setting up.
Not up for a few more seconds, but once it's up, this should be a freebie.
Boxi got the full tower. Not bad.
Yeah, tier 1 for tier 2, though, at the end of the day. Nisha will take that for free. They are smoked back here, so I thought they might position themselves to initiate, because Haunt is available, although he's actually out of mana with that last Spectral Dagger. Uses... Alright, regen just a little bit. So we'll be going back to base to get full mana and be ready to Haunt here. Nisha is going to dodge that initiation to start things off, but here's the initiation from Zai on top of qojqva into the Split Earth. Ignis Fatis is there. That is just going to be the Aegis for now, though. Haunt coming in. Looks like the Void Spirit is going to be the first to fall in this engagement, though. But Nisha completely surrounded and dominated. A 1-for-1, definitely in favor of Team Liquid if they can get out. But Matu is here. The beautiful initiation from Zai. Crush onto 2. But Matu just getting rooted, getting kited to a high degree. Can't even cleave with his break. Has to pop that BKB. Zai crushing, attempting to get out. Will not do so. Matu is able to TP out to safety.
Looked like Matu forgot he bought the BKB. He actually, he sat in like 1000 magic damage and roots instead of BKBing and just smacking people there when he got blinding lit. I think there was possibly a way for Secret to actually win that fight, but just strictly electing to use the BKB defensively, whether he forgot he had it or just thought they could win anyway, or he was worried about using it too early. That fight, in my book, either ends in the first 10 seconds or, like, I mean, it ends in the first 10 seconds, good or bad. So you might as well pop that BKB, get your value, and if you see it looks bad, you TP out after the 6 or 7 seconds. But yeah, all right.
That was also the Radiance reveal from miCKe.
Yep, for sure.
Who has 1200 gold on top of that now towards
and now comes the Manta build-up.
So do you think it was more of a... I mean, obviously we talked about the early game being in favor of Secret and whatnot, but if you're able to get over that hump with that Radiance, you'll be able to just farm to such a degree that you'll be able to get these tier 1 items that you need to kind of stay close to the net worth of somebody like Sven that can flash farm. Is that what he was thinking?
With the just buying Radiance over Manta? I don't think it's a much faster farming item than Manta. I think the logic here is maybe just how do we amplify each other the most possible, right? Our lineup is really a cluster lineup where we group up and we fight in our Coddle ulti, we fight with our Earth Spirit combo, we have an Atos and an Orchid on our utility heroes, so if we keep the fight in one place and it extends, this Radiance will give value. And of course the Blind is also nice against Slagar and Sven, 2 physical heroes.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think there's a lot of good things about it. I wouldn't say just flat out objectively this is just better than Manta, because I think he was debating himself.
Once you have both, then it becomes out of control.
Absolutely.
Farm, right? And it feels weird to go Manta into Radiance. Like, that's not really it.
Right. Then you would probably just go Manta Skadi instead.
Yeah.
Or Abyssal. But again, that's the discussion. I feel like that's also why we're not seeing Radiance so much, is that this time of the game, usually the fights happen, and if you come in with that Manta and win the fight, you transition into your next item, and Radiance just has this ability to fall off and look pretty weak.
Look at this. Matu was showing top. Liquid was nearby. They smoked, but they didn't think he would be alone, so they just assumed he had a bunch of backup. But that was a 100% kill for them if they knew. Instead, they're going to go into the enemy jungle. YapzOr, he's the one initiated on. He's going to get A-toast up and brought down very, very easily. Puppey was silenced. Splitters is going to connect from Nisha. There's the Haunt with that Radiance coming into tow. Puppey's going to be forced to use that Guardian Angel. Well, Ignis Fatus is here to hold him in place. And the Blinding Light back into place as well. So 2 for nothing. It's a 3v5, but it looks like Secret wants to continue to fight. BKB still available for Matu. Choosing not to use it. Might have to try and live. And yep, we'll pop it at the last moment, but then might go down here. A little bit of miscommunication there, but Nisha able to get off that Yules to save Matu's life. So 2 BKB usages for, it feels like nothing right now from Matu.
And just a great initiation from Liquid. I think this item combination is just so powerful. When you have one Atos, one Orchid, you catch one guy, you silence the other, and you just collapse. Boxi might be in trouble here. He has one more
another
step.
Astral Step.
Stolen.
Oh boy, YapzOr. That's a solid steal, no doubt about it. Dissimulate out. We're going to go up to the high ground here. Looks like Liquid does not want to fight, at least not yet. Boxi, another Dissimulate in 2 seconds. Astral Step in 5. But if the Splitters connect, he is done so. So they do find a kill on the back end of that. And should be able to at least pressure this tier 2, if not just take it outright. Now, the one big consideration center in terms of items is Matu not having Ags yet. He's only 200 away. That's when things really change for him being involved in these fights.
And he has a lot of freedom in fights. If he's pre-Heavenly Graced, then he has the luxury of holding the BKB a little bit. If it's Secret taking the initial jump. Oh, YapzOr. Oh,
they find him. Frozen Haze. Yeah, maybe his usage of BKB so far, or lack thereof, has been in anticipation of the Heavenly Grace.
I think Puppey was dead in the top fight. I don't know if you're expecting to get graced by a corpse, but...
Well, you never know.
I'm not sure. Actually, maybe he was alive. But here comes the Ags. Double damage rune will be bottled up by Matu, and you imagine Secret will be looking for a play now. They should know that Haunt is ready soon, but with a Viper Den on the field, you easily destroy Liquid in any engagement that you initiate right now. Liquid wisely will step away from that mid lane into their own safety of the triangle plus their defensive ward, and Taiga will pressure out this bottom lane to get some sort of rotation going. Secret do have one set of travels, so I reckon Nisha will run down here, push that back, and then connect with his team for a smoke.
Is under attack.
I don't know if we probably have talked about this, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Nisha picking up an Ags. We've been seeing this a lot more lately. Boost of travel, Yules into Ags. What are your thoughts on Ags for Leshrac in general?
I'm a bit unsure. It's one of those items that I can't really place. Ags Lesh was not popular for a very long time. It got buffed a bit, and then people tried it, kind of didn't like it, stopped buying it, now they're trying it again. I think part of the reason...
The major thing that got changed was that it prioritizes heroes now, right?
I think so, yeah, but it's more, to me, I wouldn't say this item is just objectively really, really good on the hero. I think it's very game specific, and in this game you have a defensive support, and I think Leshrac has more luxury of buying these more aggressive items when you have that Omni Knight and you're as backup. Imagine this Omni Knight wasn't in the game, you might have to buy BKB, because any stun will just lock you down and kill you in this game. But with the Puppey back up behind and Guardian Angel, you might survive, get all your stuff up, and then the Ags becomes incredible value as fights extend. Free Roche for Secret. Liquid have all spells, they're just not either unwilling or not realizing this is happening. That's a big one.
Oh, Matu with the Aegis.
Surprising, just
Nisha.
Aegis. Yeah.
I figured Cheese would be spent because you're going to have status resistance upon you thanks to Heavenly Grace.
But maybe the logic is...
qojqva trying to TP out, and now he's dead.
I think the logic here is we give Aegis to Sven because we want a Heavenly Grace Lesh. Probably.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
you Grey
Nice doesn't
Slash
have a
every
BKB.
fight, you keep him safe, he gets to use cheese for full value, and if Sven somehow gets focused down, he has a second life that he can BKB God Strength in, or whatever he wants. Usually not a big fan of Aegis on transformation heroes, but Sven at least one of the ones that has the most benefit just because his stun is so low cooldown, right? A 7-second cooldown stun that sends you flying, compared to, say, a hero like Lycan or Dragon Knight, where when you lose the first Aegis, like, how much use are you without your transformation spell?
Useless is the answer to that.
Sven is at least pretty useful, I would say.
Yep.
Yep, it's a tower.
Turn into a tier 1 and maybe even a tier 2. I don't see Liquid defending this. Well, the Haunt is
They're in
available.
kind of a rough spot. They recovered nicely with that big team fight, but they've still lost both Roshans. They've lost way more towers. They're losing their 6th now, as it looks, while claiming only 2. Kind of a weakness of their strategy in this game. Their lineup isn't very good at that. But their lineup's very good on defense, so we'll see if they can build a team fight out of this. Lotus Orb now online for qojqva, one of the biggest Sven counters. It'll help.
Yep, so he has Urn, Atos, Lotus Orb. Speaking of Nisha's Ag, something I wanted to mention, of course, is it only gets better with levels because of the level 20 talent, the extra second of slow, and then the damage at 25. Which, honestly, if I'm being, like, passing up on the Diabolic Edict feels really bad. Feels like that's really good. But Matu has the double damage. They should know this, but they're going to initiate anyway. Lotus Orb basically dispelling that completely, but he's going to apply all his pressure to miCKe right now. Pops that Blade Mail in the meantime. Omni Knight, Puppey still silenced. GA is available if he can get it off. He does do so, but will likely fall shortly after. Sven able to take out the Earth Spirit. Zai buys back into the game. Did not buy his Blink Daggers. That actually puts him back quite far. But Zai continuing to focus on miCKe. Nice Manta dodge onto the split Earth, and miCKe should be able to Spectral Dagger to safety. Oh, actually stuck in the trees. Do they have any idea that he's here? Doesn't look like it.
Very nicely played from miCKe. If he doesn't get spotted now, oh, YapzOr saw him.
Oh my goodness, YapzOr again.
That was such a good play from miCKe, though, hiding there. He switched off his Radiance, he got in the trees, and then they thought he was out, but YapzOr goes and checks on his way in. And that's such a big find, too. It's 90 seconds with no buyback. They still have Aegis.
Dire's middle tower.
Omni Knight spawning in 5 seconds will be able to connect and keep the... Oh.
Ooh. Interesting.
Nice play backpacking the Ags there for the stun.
Wow. Zai just two-shot for iNSaNiA. It looks like this Rax will likely fall one way or the other. Nisha, another Diabolic Edict in 7 seconds. qojqva just trying to delay as much as he can, but like you said, Spectre dead for 60 seconds. I don't know if Secret probably doesn't know this, though, as the Aegis is consumed. The Diabolic Edict starting to go to work, but Nisha does have to be a little bit careful. Not nearly as tanky as the rest of his team. It's Blinding Light to the other side. This is a very slow push now without these creeps.
So he's got God Strength in 10 seconds. They won't be so slow anymore. Oh, engage.
They're actually going to try to defend here, but again, no Spectre buyback to come. So it looks like the Lesh getting extremely low. Nisha getting healed thanks to Puppey, but will eventually fall. Matumba will pop that. Oh, Boxi almost gets one shot. Will attempt to get out of dodge, but it's not to be this time around. And Sven, well, with the bash coming out onto Taiga, and he actually uses his Storm Hammer onto the high ground. qojqva gets 3 shots. Jesus, 8.
So disgusting.
And here is another Storm Hammer 2-shot. And this looks to be the end of game 1. Secret just suddenly winning the game. And a lot of it had to do with YapzOr just feeling that tingling feeling next to in the trees. I mean, I don't know if the Radiance was toggled off. It was toggled off.
It was. He did everything he could. I think miCKe, the only thing he could have done better there, maybe take 1 step further to the right or something, so YapzOr doesn't get that little flicker of vision, but like, you can't fault him for that play. He did what he could, man. It was just a tough spot. There's no escape path. He has to try to hide, but got found. That Corrosive Haze plus Sven is absolutely filthy, though. Sven has his own break mechanic now, so they don't rely on stealing Nether Toxin. So as soon as Matsu gets in on Spectral Viper with Corrosive Haze on them, he can actually just kill them in a Storm Hammer. He Storm Hammers in, Silver Edge procs, and just blasts them on the spot.
So if you Silver Edge and then Storm Hammer, it's still procs? Or does it take you out of Invis?
It should take you out of invis unless you do it right as you storm, right as you activate silver. It might work.
Okay, I'm
It's
sure
actually a
there's
good
little...
question. We'll see if he does it here. He might actually do that exact play here. No.
Dire are scanning.
Okay. Well, level 24 for Matu now, and Secret with a 12k net worth lead. Next Roche not going to be up for a few minutes, but that's a fight that Liquid will have to take because that will probably be 100% GG if Secret gets the Aegis cheese and, well, either Ags or Refresher Shard this time around.
Wonder why Matu is opting for the Abyssal over AC. Usually we see Svens get AC in this slot. Attack speed is very high value. Getting the armor scaling into late game, obviously great against basically any lineup most of the time. But he is choosing for... He's electing for the more stun-heavy build. Maybe he feels like he doesn't need the AC because of Slaughter. Maybe they want Slaughter to get the AC, so Sven can just get something else. Seems to be the case. There's a Hyperstone, but we've seen Slaughters buy Moonshard. Guess they will get AC on the...
It's a pseudo blink if you're stuck without BKB in like the Nether Toxin
True.
or something, right?
Yeah. That's fair. I think in terms of raw DPS though, AC has to be a much better damage per gold.
Likely.
And if you can't get that, you could consider, you could have considered like Daedalus for just that flat out one shot. But like you said, Abyssal probably has some nice secondary uses here. Bridging the gap between stun cooldowns.
Now Nisha has the BKB on the way, so he's going to be that much more tanky.
Dire's top tower is under
Working
attack.
with this 12k network.
Boxi showed he's in trouble.
Yeah, Matu finds him,
Gets the
and
bash.
brings him down.
Well, that's what nice thing about the basher. You can bash out a Silver Edge, and then you get a free stun. Well, what do you know?
True.
That's not reliable, though.
When you're a
Abyssal
pro
is, though.
player, it is.
I mean, maybe that's the logic. You can Silver Edge hit someone, instant Abyssal, so they can't Manta dodge or Lotus Orb the stun, and then you can stun. So you get the full, like, 3-second value out of your stun chain. That might be what it is. If that's the reasoning, it's pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah, miCKe forced to just sit inside these trees with the radiance off.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Feels pretty bad.
Didn't work last time, so this time he's gonna get out earlier.
Yeah.
Dire's bottom tower.
That means a free tier 2.
Roche in 1 minute.
Yeah, and I doubt Secret will try to push before that point. I mean, Matu has nowhere even near enough gold for buyback, so just banking on this Aegis right now. But like I said, that's probably Liquid's one, I don't know if you want to call it an opener, but, or opening, but the Roche fight seems like it's something they have to take this game. And you're right, Zai is going for the Assault instead of the Moonshard. Started off with the Hyperstone this time though.
Fear nothing.
So Nisha now level 21, so actually went for the Pulse Nova damage. Okay. Actually, I've seen a lot of, now that I think of it, I've seen a lot of Leshes do this despite having Ags. Just because it's better, generally. It's not as consistent. The other
Also, again, I think it's game specific. Like, you look at the game, does this feel like a game where it's game changing that you get slows off? I don't think it matters that much. You have so many stuns. Sven with a 7-second cooldown stun, you have a Slardar to stay on top of people. Leshrac himself with Yule and move speed with it. Oh, use the Haunt.
The Haunt to start things out. Zai is going to completely destroy Taiga with the help of Matu. That's one out of the gates. Oh my god, that's two shot. Are you serious? Blade Mail is popped, so Matu has to be a little bit careful inside the Ignis Facets as well. So has the BKB activated for himself, trying to kite around as much as possible. And Nisha still with that 10-second BKB, destroying the Spectre, and it looks like no buyback for him. So Liquid starting to drop like flies despite the buyback, still at the huge disadvantage. Matu continuing to just one-shot people from afar as GG's come out. So game 1 to Secret. Very satisfying to see those 2 shots.
Famous Swedish celebrity. How is that balanced? Now that was crazy, man. To me, Slaughter is really, in many ways, becoming the offlaner of the patch right now.